Hey there, I'm Liz with Full and Filled. Thanks for tuning in to today's video. I'm excited to have you here. Let's talk food choices. Every single day we get up, we are able to make the choice of what food we put in our bodies. So today I want to chat with you a little bit about that because that has been one of the reasons I have been successful on the Starch Solution. So come along and let's start chatting. Food. You wouldn't think it's as complex as it is, but it is. People are confused with what to eat, how to nourish their bodies. The media is constantly out there telling us this is even plant-based, this is healthy, this is good for you, you should be eating this, all of those things. And we see that. And because something looks healthy doesn't mean that we should be consuming it. So, based on that, think about the foods that you have had during some meals that you feel nourished and feel healthy eating. Those are the foods we should be eating and consuming and filling our body with. Frozen vegetables. People always say, hey, they're frozen. They might not have as many nutrients. They actually have so many nutrients because they are flash frozen right away, and so they have so many nutrients. Fresh as well. Fresh is always good to have. Let's talk sugar. Sugar is one of those things that in most diets, sugar is bad. I'm not saying to consume a ton of sugar, but if you want to add a little bit of sugar in your oatmeal or something like that, sugar is okay. Sugar is not actually the problem. The problem tends to be high fat and processed foods. So we need to be staying away from those and having a lower fat diet, and that is the Starch Solution. Filling our bodies with starches and vegetables. So you think, people always say, stay away from carbs, stay away from sugar, stay away from fats, maybe have a ton of fats. I mean, there is so much out there that we're exposed to on a daily basis. It's like, what do you eat? Well, I mean, we have so many options, but like literally taking down that question, what do you eat? And the Starch Solution, we eat starches and vegetables. And don't overcomplicate this. Think about what starch you can have. I love, if you've been following along, I love oats, rice, and potatoes. Those are my three go-to starches. There's so many other starches that you can consume, like millet and couscous and quinoa. There's just so many. So think about which starch you want to have, and then look at all the wide varieties that we have out there of vegetables. Literally, it's endless of all the things that we can eat in regards to vegetables. Think about what vegetables you like, which ones are easy. And for me, I do eat a lot of frozen vegetables because I don't live really close to a grocery store. So I tend to definitely buy fresh when I go to the grocery store every few weeks. But if I'm out of fresh, I move to frozen and I'm okay with it. So don't overcomplicate food. Think about this as a very basic food plan. How can you put foods together with added condiments to make foods really flavorful? For me, I think a potato actually tastes good by itself. Not that I don't use condiments, I do, but just think about how your palate will actually change and evolve to not actually crave those things. I know that, for me, there was a time that I liked sweets. I don't tend to have sweets that much anymore because I just don't crave it, because I eat a lot of starches, and starches have sugar in them. And so start thinking about how you can get other kinds of sugars into your diet while it's not, actual sprinkle on sugar. Also, I love eating fruit every once in a while, so if I do have a sweet tooth, I do tend to love to have some fruit, whether that be an apple, a banana, a mango, or a cherry, or a grape. Those are like my five, I think I said five. Those are like my five go-to fruits. So don't overcomplicate foods. We're consumed with just all these different foods, all these things that we can make, but keep things simple. And that's what I hope that I provide you on my channel, is just showing you nourishing foods, how you can make them simple, how it's easy to consume this food for you living your best life, eating starches and vegetables. Don't overcomplicate foods. But as we are talking about foods, you have to look at ingredients. People that are making these foods sneak in oil and processed gums and weird stuff that I can't even pronounce on these labels. So when you are shopping or looking at what you are going to eat, please look at the labels. And sometimes I just eat the standard food because I've already approved all the labels and I know them. But here's the thing, there has been food recently that I used to get that had no oil in it, and I checked the label recently and it had oil in it. And I was like, whoa, not okay. Like, they snuck oil in. Why? It was fine without the oil. My rant is over. But here's the thing, I'm serious. You have to look at these things because ingredients sneak in here and there. And so that's why I wanted to talk to you just in general about food, because food is always coming at us from labels and TV, and when we're shopping at the grocery store, we are over bombarded with food options, and because of that, our food cravings tend to be so overcomplicated. So keep your food simple and look out for what you are actually putting into your body. Make yourself alert. Make yourself informed about the food choices and the nutrients that you put into your body. Because for me, that is really valuable information that I hold and that I know. Because as I've lost 35 pounds and counting, because I'm still doing this with y'all, I empower myself with knowledge and resource and information, and I have to, as a consumer, take matters into my own hands to look at labels, to understand where my food's coming from, you know, what I need to buy organic, what I don't need to buy organic, and so forth. So this is something, as a consumer eating the Starch Solution way, you need to look out for what we put in our bodies and where we're at based on carbs and fats and sugars and what's good. And that's why the Starch Solution is so valuable. It literally gives us a roadmap of how we are supposed to eat, and it doesn't overcomplicate things. I don't know about you, but I've been on diets where they're like, don't eat sugar, don't eat sugar. I'm like, whoa. You know, every once in a while I want to have like a tiny bit of sugar or something like that. And it's okay. But I do think that when you're eating this way, you have to be consistent. Because if you're eating oil like 2 or 3 times a week in your foods, and then the other days you're not, it's going to be hard to lose the weight. So keep that in mind as you are finding out what you need to be eating. What kind of foods do you need to be consuming to feel vibrant and healthy? And start consuming only those foods and be consistent. Be consistent with this. People sometimes ask, how are you able to do this? It was because I reviewed my food and I was consistent with eating these kind of foods, starches and vegetables. And because I did that, I was able to reduce my weight, and even better yet, feel vibrant and feel good in my skin. And I really hope that for you. I want to give you an example of a food choice. I enjoy soy milk in my coffee. And so I have been on a quest as a consumer to find a soy milk that has lower fat content in it. And that's something that I had to take matters into my own hands to find that, to research that, to think about that, and to know which one that I wanted to have that had a lower fat content. I found soy milk at Trader Joe's that has literally 2 grams less than another brand for soy milk. So literally just because of that, I am taking in less fat in my diet based on my weight loss goals. So that's just an example of reviewing labels, understanding the foods that we're consuming, the foods that we are buying and consuming into our bodies, because those little things actually do make a difference when you are on a weight loss journey. Understand your food, know your foods, look at your labels, do the research for yourself, because I know as a consumer, when you start looking at the labels and educating yourself around food, you will make better choices and understand the foods that you do need to buy if it actually has a label on it. So let's talk about that real quick. I try to eat things that have no label, that they are potatoes, they are broccoli, they are things that I get in the produce section that don't have a label. Think about that. Why don't those things have a label? Let's think about that. Because they're healthy foods, and that we don't necessarily have to report those kind of foods because they don't have a ton of those added things in the food to add to an ingredient list and or the actual packaging. I just thought about that and I'm like, whoa, yeah, why don't some of these have labels? Because they are not necessarily a processed food. They don't have other things to tell people what are in them. Broccoli is broccoli. Potato is a potato. Keep it simple. Keep your food simple. If you've enjoyed this video, I would love if you gave me a thumbs up for this video. If you enjoyed it, I would love for you to subscribe, and even more, send me a comment. I love hearing from you on your journey to how we all can just live a more vibrant life, eating starches and vegetables.